What's going on, guys? This is Woohoot, and I want to do a quick comparison between these four guns: the 416 Custom, the 416 Camo, the SopMod, and the M416 CQB Camo Custom. Now, these are known to be very low recoil guns, and I've actually slowed down the footage on 3 different scenarios to show you the recoil patterns on each scenario. The first one is basically out of scope full auto against the wall. So you can see that basically, I would say about the first 4 to 5 to 6 shots go straight up, and they're very tightly grouped. And the remaining 20 or so shots balloon at the very top. So if you're aiming body shots, you're generally going to get a little bit more lotto headshots if you fire that way. But unfortunately, people don't usually stand still and fire. Or when you're firing at them, they don't usually stand still and let you hit them. Now, but this is to show you kind of a baseline of what these 4 weapons do. In my observation, I've noticed that the 416 Custom and the M416 CQB Camo Custom have a lot better grouping in the first 5 or 6 shots. And they balloon a little bit less, and they usually tend to get a little bit more accurate if you're trying to hit long-range target on full auto with no scope. Now, generally, I would prefer that players, don't full auto too much out of scope because you are not going to be that accurate. Tap fire rapidly or basically, burst fire in 3 or 4 shots will generally give you better results than not doing that. In the second scenario, we have every gun in scope, and what you'll notice is that the 416 Custom actually has a lot more shots that go straight up in the very beginning. I want to say almost about 8 shots in the very beginning. You can rewind and check it out. Whereas the 416 Camo right here is not going to have as many shots land in the very beginning. You have like 3 or 4 shots that land in the very beginning, but then it starts to widen out a lot more than the 416 Custom. So it's something to keep in mind if you're using the 2 guns. They're both very good, but I would give the edge to the 416 Custom. The SopMod, on the other hand, the first 5 or 6 shots are very vertical, but after that it starts ballooning left to right a little bit more than the other 2 guns. I would say the SopMod and the 416 Camo have very similar recoil patterns. And when we go to the 416 CQB Custom, you get even more shots that go straight up in the very beginning. I want to say about 8 to 10 shots go straight up, and the rest balloon. So, I would favor again the 416 Camo and the 416 CQB Custom, CQB Camo Custom. In the last scenario, we're actually going to be moving forward while we fire in scope. And I know some players do this out of panic or whatnot, but I wanted to show you what the spread patterns were. The 416 Custom, actually, if you look at the very end, the spread pattern is actually really good. It's very tightly grouped, and you're going to have very little spread, even though you're moving. The 416 Camo is not going to have as good of a recoil pattern spread. You notice that it goes a lot more out left to right. You're not going to have as many shots hit center as you will with the 416 Custom. The SopMod is more similar to the 416 Custom, where you're going to have more shots land center of mass versus spreading wildly. That being said, I still feel that the 416 Custom outperforms the SopMod in this particular test. Even though the spread pattern seems to be a little bit more tightly centered, it just feels like the 416 Custom does a better job eliminating people in a quicker time period. In the last scenario, the 416 CQB Custom, Camo Custom is probably the best. It just seems like the M416 CQB Camo Custom doesn't have much spread at all, even while scoped in and moving a route. So I think that's going to be your best bet as far as an accurate gun at full auto. One thing I wanted to note was that all 4 guns, even though the custom guns have a higher fire rate, the M416 Camo actually fired at exactly pretty much the same speed as the other 3 guns, despite the number difference from Nexon, which we know that can be very inaccurate at times. So this is something you want to keep in mind when choosing, but I hope this review was helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.